Ugh. Uh, Thanks, sweetie. Yeah, it looks like we're live. Alrighty. Sorry, kitty. Alrighty. Just about 7 a.m. Oh, good morning. Where am I looking? It's Sunday, 7 a.m. And it's time for my daily 15-minute push on a project that otherwise would not be getting done. And that project is, and ever shall be, the Nerd Magazine project, which I started August 8th, and I've been working on approximately 15 minutes at a time every day since then. So it's been, I think, about 31, 32 days. And let's see, where do we leave off? Let me look at my quiver here. So we've done some content development. It seems most of the time has been spent looking at the static site generator called Metalsmith. And I need to remember how to start this thing up. One nice thing about these 15-minute morning things is they've given me a reason to wake up at the same time. And I've been able to anchor a whole bunch of different rituals around that, such as feeding the cat at the same time every day so he doesn't get mad at me and poop everywhere, because that's pretty important. Just pulling up Sublime text. Let's put that over here, and let's pull up a browser so we can see the static site generating stuff. I guess that's good. I need to start up the actual page. CD do you say web nerd metal and node.build. Download the build.js file, which is on the screen right now here, or it was. It's this one. And if I navigate to one of the test articles, at localhost port 3000 test HTML, there is the test article, which is, let's load the test article now. Dockered, but out of content test. So there it is. So if this is content, this is amazing. Wow, cool. If I save this, it will automatically refresh on the right, as you can see right there. And this is Markdown. So that's nice. So the template is working. At least that part's working. I mean, this is all placeholder stuff, just to see if I could get Bootcamp 3 integration working. I just basically tried to copy one of their base templates, the example templates, into the layout Jade template. And I'm not familiar with Jade at all, so it took a while even just to get this far. But I'm starting to kind of like the way it looks. Before I was not really sold on it. But, you know, this is really clean looking. I like that. This, not so much, you know, but I don't think that ever would have looked clean anywhere. So, what are we going to do today? Go look at Quiver. It's going to be a pretty busy day. It's Sunday, September 11th. See if there's any memorials going on for that. Start 15 minutes. Boom. Let's go in. So I had left a question for myself yesterday, it looks like. How to handle multiple source directories with different processing needs in Metalsmith. And yesterday I was very frustrated and confused by how it worked. But I think what it comes down to is the individual plugins, I think, handle the directories relative to the root directory. And so if I look at this example I was looking at yesterday, yeah, so down here it says Metalsmith dir name, which is the starting dir name. Oh, I also looked up some of the basic commands it has. They have like source, destination, use, and build. Those are really the only four things it does. Source and destination set the source and destination directories. Build is the last function that triggers the whole operation. Use is what modifies the list of files that are passed along by dir name. So you can actually specify. What I was confused here was the use of this source's content, which I thought meant that everything in the Markdown plugin would be processing whatever is there, and then it will just copy it to doc-root. But then all these use things in the middle. I mean, these are just invoking different functions along the way, basically. And each function receives a list of files and a way of using it. So knowing that, the list of files, and each one can filter which files it's looking at. So I'm going to rewrite my build.js file a little bit to be a little bit more clear. This is just a mismatch, or hodgepodge, I should say, of different example templates I saw online. So I'm just going to break this up into two parts just to make it more clear. So that's the process. And what I want to do here is, let's call this make. And then I want to do is, I'm going to just break it up separately because I think this would work. Make let's see if it does. Use, 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 use. And then I think I can do this. I'm just kind of confirming that this is how it works. Var make equals. This is more verbose. Let's see. This is making Metalsmith object. I couldn't think I could make multiple ones like this. Just combine all these things. This is configuration. Define transformations. Use, 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 use. Launch. This is where it's confusing. Launch express. And watch. The reason why that was confusing to me before was because it was confusing to me before because it mixed it made it look like a more complete build tool than it really is. Is that true? No, it's not, and maybe not. I mean, it's very similar to the way Gulp works, which is another build tool. That's JavaScript configuration is code philosophy. Ordinarily, for a build tool, you would have a bunch of parameters unless it described what it would do. This is actually working JavaScript code. Gulp is the same way. What I like about it is that you can see what it's doing. It seems to me, it seems more direct and also more flexible than if you're using a build tool that has just a bunch of parameters, or even if it's a reasonable set of parameters. I switched over to it because I was using a pretty good build tool called Mimosa, which I liked because the documentation was really clear. But there was a point when I had to add some feature to it, and then I had to get into their plugin extension language, and figure out what configuration. Well, I needed to figure out what configurations were available. Then I realized I needed to write some sort of plugin for it. And then I started going, maybe there's a better way. Maybe I should just learn how to write my own build tool, because everybody seems to be doing it. So here we are. Static site generation, the desire to do this came out from just being tired of using WordPress and worried about security all the time, and it being kind of slow and not very suitable for the way I want my new website to be. So I just reformatted it back to the way it was. Let's make sure it still works. So okay, nothing's complaining. That's good. Let's see if I save this. Any of the article template stuff. Actually, this is still not working. It says it's watching templates. Oh, this is a CSS file. It should be watching everything in content. This CSS file is not being incorporated. So if I wanted to include a CSS file in a template, this is what I'm doing here in my block extra styles. And let me check to see if it's actually loading someplace in the head. Script, is my article CSS in here? There it is. I just can't find it because it hasn't been copied. There's some errors are happening. So let's look up and see if how we can get Metalsmith to copy assets. And there is something called copy assets. Include static assets in your source, asset source destination. Metalsmith use assets. Do we have Metalsmith assets turned in here? It doesn't look like it. Let's try it. Why don't we? For assets equals require Metalsmith assets, and then we'll use toward the end of this, I think. Copy additional assets. Use assets. Oops. Source. Relative to the working directory. The working directory is where am I putting this? It's in content. I guess it's styles. No, actually we should make it assets. Don't we have one already? We'll call it assets, and then we'll have destination. It should be relative to the destination, which is already set, to I should do it. If this works as is, then I will have leveled up in my understanding of Metalsmith. Execute the chain. I don't like why they indented that. I'm going to unindent it. Error. What's going on here? Missing semicolon. Build function error. If error, console log error. Expected this. Oh. 1, 2. Oh, is this all wrapped? No, it's not all wrapped. 1, 2. That's the end of the function. That's the end of the build. Where's the other one? Use. 1, 2. Okay, I guess there were 2. Alright, but I don't have, this will crash when I try running it. I'm running over here, I still can't find Metalsmith assets. So, let's see. What's npm install save dev Metalsmith assets. That seems to be loading something. It's exciting. And we need to rename our CSS folder into, well, that should be the same. We need to go to the desktop now. Let's go to another desktop. And, oops. I need to go to, actually, let me do it in the terminal. Yeah. We're in the right directory already. So we want to make dir assets, and then we want to move CSS into assets. So that should be reflected now in my, why does that keep moving? In this directory, now we have an assets folder. Assets, content. I'm not sure if I like the term assets, because I already have content. Modules. Static, maybe? I could get rid of these folders. That's better. I'm always in this folder anyway. Working source. What's the difference between working source and content? What is this stuff? Oh, working source is, we call this something else. Working sources are other graphic assets. Or, is that right? I'll just call it working. Working source is a little bit too misleading. Okay. So now if I run this thing, it should work. How do I do that again? Node.build. Oops. Use is not a function. What? I screwed something up. Maybe that's why I'm getting the extra. What's this use watch stuff? Don't like that example. Again, cobbled together from another tutorial, each one using slightly different conventions. Paths, live reload, true. too much. See if we can run this. There it goes. Now we need to modify our article J to load that from the right place. Assets, CSS, article CSS. Reloaded files. I'm still not seeing. We're still getting an error. Oh, it worked. The background changed color. I wasn't doing it before. So if we make this like red, oops, all the locations changed. Don't. So we have our artist assets CSS. And if I change this to 900, it should all turn red. No, turn red! Why isn't it turning red? Why? Well, it didn't copy it. Probably because that folder's not being watched. Just running out of juice. Do I have to watch that folder too? Use watch source. Anything in source should be. Well, that's content though. It's watching templates as well. I also have it watch assets as well. I'm not sure this is the right way to do it. So now we run this again. Is it warning? Nope. Reload. That time it works. So now, as I'm watching these, now if I change this to 0, it should all turn black. Yes! We have starting to get a functional web template system. So that's great. So let me do that right down. What was the answer to this question? The answer to this question was answer plugins can filter subdirectories and extensions to know what to process based on the source directory. So there's a plugin chain. The root is set by making the main Metalsmith object, which is dir name, and then just making my markdown formatting correctly, and then is set by the source and destination is further set. Commands. Alright, so what did we do today? Who's biting me? Is there a bug? Got article CSS to load from article template. Figured out how to handle multiple source directories by thinking through the build file logic. This was possible because yesterday I read some plugin code. and had the entire day to ponder it from time to time. Oh, okay. So, I guess the lesson is, like yesterday I was frustrated with this Metalsmith stuff, and God says, well, it makes no sense, what is this junk? And then after a day of not thinking about it, today the answer just popped into my head, so this 15-minute a day thing kind of is working for me, surprisingly. Even though it's taken 30 days to get this far, and I suppose an experienced developer could get this all working within, well, an experienced developer who is not familiar with static site generators or any of this web technology, such as myself, if they really focused on it, they could probably do it in, like a day two, or 2 days total. I've spent 31 days of it, but on the other hand, it's been this low-level, low-stress, generally low-stress activity. And since this is working well, like I'm thinking of applying the same 50-minute process multiple times a day. And this is how maybe I can juggle more projects. The day-to-day continuity and having this notebook here, is what really I think is making it possible for me. Then the trick is just getting over my resistance to doing anything, which is maybe, the 50 minutes helps with that too, because it's 50 minutes only that I'm devoting to it, so it doesn't seem like a huge amount of time, and therefore why not? So anyway, today, what am I doing? What else am I doing today? Today I'm finishing cleaning up the living room. The living room is looking good. I spent most of yesterday driving to IKEA, picking out a Calyx shelf unit to use as a room divider. I built it last night, and evaluating whether or not I could store all the stuff I needed, and it is easily able to, so it cleans up the living room quite a lot. On Monday, we want to do a podcast. Me and my friend Sid, we haven't done a podcast since December 2015, just being busy and so forth. But he's committed to coming on Monday. So what we want to do is we want to do a simultaneous video stream and podcast recording. So I need to figure out how that's going to work, from camera positioning, microphone placement, moving this rig, which is based on the MacBook, upstairs, and and then also just seeing if I can record to Reason at the same time I am streaming. That's probably the biggest unknown. Everything else is just a matter of fiddling with stuff. So that's probably going to be a full day. Unfortunately, the sandwich shop I wanted to go to is closed on Sundays, so I don't know what I'm going to eat. But that's it. I want to figure out what's biting me though. Little bugs, mosquitoes, Zika. Hope it's not fleas or something. I don't know where they would have come from. It's just biting me now too. Something down here. Anyway, that's the stream for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow, Monday, and maybe we do some more work. It never ends, but it's starting to feel more manageable, I suppose. So have a good day.